If you think you have a sales problem, that you're not getting calls, they're not showing up, they are hard to close, well, then you have most likely tried fixing your sales script, your reminders, your objection handling skills, maybe your booking page. But none of those are fixing the real problem. The deals are not lost during calls, they are lost during the days and weeks before it. The real problem just comes down to trust. If they trust you, they buy. So in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to build that trust in today's trust economy. So for starters, what you need to understand is that every single problem that you have comes back to trust. So not booking enough calls, low show up rate, and long sales cycles or two call closes, low close rate, lots of objections, lots of explanation and education. You know, all of these problems that I just listed, they are all symptoms of not enough trust. You know, if someone trusts you 100%, well, then they will book a call with you. If they trust that you can actually help their problem, well, then they will show up to the call. If they trust that you can deliver results, well, then they will close faster. Then you can actually close them easier. Then they won't have any objections. Then you won't need to explain anything. Because let's take an example. If you have a guaranteed 10x ROI, you know, this is guaranteed. You will get a 10x return on your investment. Well, you're obviously going to take that deal because you can't lose. You will get 10 times your investment. So it always comes to trust. If someone is guaranteed to fix your problems and get you your desired results, well, then you're taking that deal. So we need to stop overcomplicating everything and to just think, how can we build enough trust in each of these stages so that they do book a call, so that they do show up, so they do close. But what has happened recently is that people have become more skeptical than ever. You know, back a few years ago, people would be neutral when they see, you know, a stranger. You know, when they see someone's ad, well, they're not skeptical at first, they're pretty neutral. But today, person-to-person trust is at an all-time low. You know, people don't trust random strangers anymore. So when people see your ad for the first time, they actually have negative trust. This is where they sit on the trust spectrum. You know, people start with negative trust, and this applies to everything, to your short form, to your ads. When people see you for the first time, they are not neutral, they are skeptical, they are at a negative level. So our job is harder than ever. Our job is to bridge this gap to get them right here on the trust spectrum where they are ready to buy. But another problem is that every business today says the same things. You know, everyone has 20 plus case studies. Everyone has got their clients some crazy results. People have bigger and bigger promises. Everyone says we are different. So none of these cut it anymore. You know, 20 case studies won't save you. Crazy results won't save you. A big promise won't save you. You know, you can't just say you're different. You know, today everyone says this, and this applies to all kinds of businesses. You know, every agency has made their clients 10 million. You know, every coach has got their clients to lose crazy amounts of weight or have some crazy transformation. And every consultant has blown up some businesses. You know, everyone has this proof. You know, so your results, your case studies, they're not special. They don't differentiate you at all. You know, your leads, your prospects, they don't see anything special about you because of your case studies, because of your results. So today, we have to do something fundamentally different to actually build trust. And something that you may have noticed is that if you, as the founder, if you're on sales calls, well, you are able to build trust on calls. You know, you are able to take someone from being skeptical to them being sure that you can deliver results. You know, you are able to bridge this trust gap live on calls. Even if someone shows up to the call knowing nothing about what you do or how you're different, you're able to close them. But if your closer is on that call, they're not able to do that same thing because they don't have your expertise, they don't have your knowledge, so they're not able to actually impress the lead. They're not able to demonstrate the value that you provide to them. So this right here is very fundamental to how we need to build trust in today's trust economy. But obviously, you can't be on every single sales call. That's not scalable. So the real problem we have to fix sits between your marketing and your sales calls. So instead of you being able to build that trust live on calls, we have to take that trust building and put it before the call so that your closers can also close as well as you do. We need to take all the trust building and put it right here in between your marketing and your sales calls. But the thing is that most people believe that they have a lead problem, that they have a marketing problem, that they have an ads problem, or they believe that they have a sales script problem, they have an objection handling problem. But as I said, the real problem sits here in between. Because you can very easily have the best ads in the world and you can have the best closer in the world, but if there's no trust built in between, nothing spectacular will happen. And another problem today is that traditional marketing is dead. People see right through direct response tactics. They can smell that you are marketing, they can smell that you are hard selling. People are not stupid anymore. They can see right through what you are trying to do. They can see right through that you are just marketing, that you're just selling to them. So the businesses that are winning today are not the ones that have the best direct response tactics or the best, marketing, because again, people are not stupid anymore. They can see right through if you're selling to them. The people that are winning today are the ones that are able to build the most trust between your marketing and your sales calls. And you don't build trust by hard selling to someone. Because if the leader prospect realizes that you're trying to manipulate them or hard sell to them, well, then they won't trust you. So we need to find a fundamentally different way to achieve this. So the first thing that you need to do is to prove your expertise to them firsthand. Because the number one indicator of the value that you will receive after buying something is the value that you have received before you buy that thing. And this is very basic stuff. Just think about the small taste tests that you get in grocery stores. They are not handing out free food like mindlessly. They have a reason behind it. And the reason is, if you try their food, their snack for free, a small bite, then you can experience what it tastes like. And if it tastes good, then you're more likely to actually purchase the product, to purchase the food. And this takes all the risk away from the lead, from the prospect. If they can experience how good you are, what you can deliver to them firsthand, if they can actually get to experience your value before buying, then they are so much more likely to actually buy if your stuff is good. Because the lead will always judge how good your paid stuff is based on your free stuff. So if your free stuff is shit, if it's garbage, then they will subconsciously believe that your paid stuff is good. The same applies to the taste test that you have in grocery stores. If you take the small taste test and it's shit, if you don't like it, well, then you won't buy the main product. But if you like the test, if you like the small bite, well, then you will buy the main thing, the main product. And the same applies to us. If they don't like your free stuff, they will never buy your main high ticket offer. So the best way to get someone to believe that your high ticket offer is valuable is to actually help them, to give them value for free before buying your main high ticket offer. Because then there is no doubt anymore. But the problem is that most businesses offer something very generic for free. Their free stuff is so generic, it's so basic, it doesn't have any real value attached to it. Just think about the standard lead magnets, the PDFs, checklists, guides, ebooks. None of these deliver real value to anyone because they are so generic. They are the same for every single person who opts in. So just think about it. If you get 10,000 people to opt in for your free thing, to get your free thing, well, what's the likelihood that someone gets something that's specifically for them, that actually helps them and their unique situation? Well, it's not that high because you have to make these things fit everyone. And if they fit everyone, they actually fit no one. But the reason why most people offer these PDFs, checklists, guides, or ebooks is because they are low effort for you. You create them once and then you can just give them out unlimited times. But again, you need to think, how can I portray my expertise in the best possible way? How can I demonstrate how good I am? How can I prove to people that I can help them? Because again, as I said, they will judge how good your paid stuff is based on your free stuff. So if you offer these shitty things for free, then they will assume that the free stuff is shit. Because you offer the same free stuff as everyone else, people will think that you are the same as everyone else. So you have to offer something different and something that actually proves your expertise, that actually demonstrates how good you are. And the obvious answer here is that you offer custom and personalized things to people, because that's much more valuable and then you can actually prove to them that you can help them. But the issue is that that's not scalable. You can't offer custom stuff to 10,000 people. That's impossible. But what I have done is that I have made a lead magnet. This is the click to close audit, and this is a quiz. So how this works is that people will answer 14 quick questions about their business, and then they will receive a personalized audit about their situation, about their business. So they can find out exactly where their pipeline is leaking, what's stopping them from getting enough qualified leads, converting them into calls, or closing them without objections or education or effort. And then, as I said, they get a personalized plan to fix it based on their specific and unique situation. So a few examples of the questions that I ask here on the opt-in is, what best describes their business? So for example, they are a coach. Then what price point is their offer? So let's say 3 to 6K. And then do they close through sales calls? Yes, they close. What's their monthly revenue? Well, 20 to 40K. How many leads do they get? Well, let's say to 50. How many calls? Well, 30 to 60. Where are their leads and calls coming from? Well, let's say paid ads and organic content. And then what are they struggling with the most right now? And this is the most important question, because here they are literally telling me what they're struggling with. So now I can help exactly what they want me to help them with. So if they say that they're struggling with low show up rates, low close rates, and that their leads are comparing them to cheaper alternatives, well, now I will actually help them exactly with these three things that they're telling me. So I think you get the point. I have 14 questions here that are all about their business, and then based on what they answer, do they get a personalized plan, a personalized audit of the situation, how to fix things, and so on. But you may be thinking, how do I actually do this? How do I create the personalized and custom stuff for them? And it's simple. So what I do is that I have 4 pre-made PDFs, and all of these PDFs have like 4 or 5 pages each one. So it looks something like this. As you saw, I had the question where I asked them what they're struggling with the most right now. So if they answer that they're struggling to get new leads, then they will be put into the new lead PDF. If they struggle to get more calls, they will be put to the more calls one. If they struggle with low quality leads, low quality calls, then they will get put to the quality PDF. Or if they struggle with anything related to their sales calls, so show up rate, close rate, a lot of objections, or anything like that, then it will be put to the call PDF. But then what you saw is that I also had many more questions on there, so I can't just give them a PDF based on one question. What I then have done is that I have made like 10 other PDFs, and then based on their answers to the other questions, will I then put one of these with the main PDF. Now I can like quiz and cross all of these alternatives. So you can be put into the new lead main PDF, this one, but then you can get maybe this one if you answer in a certain way, or you may get this PDF, or then you can be put into the more calls one and you get maybe this PDF. You can mix and match these, but the main PDF structure, the long part, is based on what they tell me that their problem is, because that's what they actually want help with. But then to personalize it even more, I can mix and match their lead magnet with these 10 additional PDFs, and to customize it even more in every single PDF, in every single page that I have in all of these pages, I have certain places that are not pre-filled, and I actually get AI to fill out the fields based on what they answer in their questions. So for example, I had a question where I asked them how many leads they get and how many calls they get. So in the more calls PDF, I have a section where it actually tells them, where it calculates their lead to book the rate. So it tells them, well, you got 500 leads and you only got 10 booked calls, so your lead to book rate is like this and this. So I also customize each of these PDFs using AI based on what they answer. And this is how I can actually create custom and personalized, thing for people while making it scalable. And as you probably realize, this is so much more valuable than a standard like ebook or guide. So this is how I build trust, because I actually give people something valuable and I help them for free. They will judge how good my paid stuff is based on my free stuff. So if you want more people to actually trust you and ascend to your paid program, then you need better free stuff. And the thing is that you can't also just give out information. And the thing with these ebooks and guides is that you're only giving them information. And in today's day and age, people can go and get any information they want from Google. They can ask ChatGPT, they can watch a YouTube video. So pure information is not valuable anymore. You have to actually provide them transformation. You have to give them information about their unique situation, how they can specifically do something. And then the next thing is exposure. So what you need to understand is that there is almost a 1-to-1 correlation between how much time someone spends with you and the likelihood that they buy. So always, the more time someone spends with you, the more likely they are to buy. And Google actually came out with a study some time ago that says on average it takes around 7 hours of exposure to get someone from a stranger to a client. And 7 hours is a lot of exposure. And I know in today's trust economy, it's so hard to get someone to actually spend 7 hours with you. That's like nearly impossible, because there's so many things going on. People can watch like Netflix, they can watch like a million other YouTubers, they can watch like a movie or something. There's so many things for people to do. To actually get them to spend 7 hours of their time with you is highly unlikely and very hard. But the point still stands. The more time that they spend with you, the more likely they are to buy. So a person who has spent 3 hours with you is more likely to buy than someone who has spent 5 minutes with you. And what's quite obvious here is that the person who has spent more time with you will trust you more than the person who has spent less time with you. It's the same. You trust your family member more than you trust like a random stranger, obviously, because you have spent more time with your family. So to get people to actually trust us today, we need to get them to spend as much time with us as possible. And the best way to do that is through video content. Because if you just think about it, if you have like a standard website, standard web page, if you have a lot of text on there, well, first of all, most people will actually never read the text you have on there. You know, that's always the case. But if they actually do read it, well, they maybe spend like, again, 5 minutes with you. But you can very easily get them to watch, let's say, a 30-minute video. Because people's attention span allows them to watch a video for much longer than it allows them to read something. Because a video is much more engaging. You actually get to see stuff. But if you read something, it's like reading is so boring. So you can't just have text and expect people to spend a lot of time with you. You can't only have like emails, SMS, your website, or like some blogs. You need to actually have video content. That's what's required today. You need to have a video on your webpage. You need to have a VSL. That's like the minimum requirement. Then you need to have strategic video assets posted on YouTube. And don't worry, you don't need to get native views from YouTube. The point is that when you have your email, the same emails that you're sending right now, you want to have a link within the email like this that then sends people from that email to your YouTube, to your strategic video assets. So now you can send people from email where they currently spend, let's say maybe 1 minute with you, to your YouTube where they can spend, let's say, 30 minutes watching one video. So now you go from 1 minute to 30 minutes. And when they go to YouTube, they can very easily watch 2 or 3 of your videos in a row. So they can even watch maybe, let's say, 2 or 3 hours in one sitting if they binge watch your content. But don't worry about you getting native views on YouTube. You want to post like 5, 6, or 7 strategic videos that handle objections, that answer questions, that solves your niche's problems, and then you send people from every place you have to your YouTube. You send them from your SMS, from your email to your YouTube videos. And this way we can actually manufacture this time, this exposure systematically. Because you don't want to just post videos or have some, video assets somewhere and just leave them there. You need to actually send people to the assets. You need to put them in the right places. Because if you just have your YouTube videos, then the likelihood that people find them and go watch them is pretty low. And then you will only have this 1 minute exposure that you get from your email. But if you want to actually get these 2 or 3 hours of exposure, then you need to force everyone to your YouTube. You need to guide people to go and watch your videos. You need to have links, you need to have CTAs, you need to tell people to go and watch your videos. You need to have videos on your website so that when people land on them, they can instantly watch that video. And that's exactly what a VSL is. And it's pretty obvious why this works. You can just think about it. If you're running both ads and organic content, the calls that you get from your ads, well, they're pretty hard to close. They always have more objections, more questions, but the calls that you get from your organic content, well, they are always easier to close. They always have less questions, less objections, and they are so much more, they're easier to manage. And the only reason why your calls from organic sources are so much better is because they have spent more time with you, they have more exposure with you, so they trust you. But the ones from ads, well, they have spent like 30 seconds with you. That's why they're so hard to close. So this is all about getting people to spend time with you. And again, just to reinstate why the videos are so important, and more important than like pure text, is because words are abstract and people can copy your words. But when they watch you for like 20, 30 minutes or like a couple of hours, when then they get to hear you can explain your way of thinking much easier. You can walk through their problems much easier, and people actually get a feeling that they know you. You get to express yourself much better, and that's what builds the trust. And then the last thing is that you need to build a personal connection with your leads, with your prospects. And the reason is because people buy from people. People don't buy from like faceless brands. They don't buy from some like vague thing. People buy from real other individuals. And like in a world where more and more things are like automated and like AI generated, real people connection is more important than ever. Just think about the difference between a generic automated reminder and a personal selfie reminder. These generic automated reminders, most people, they don't even open them. If you get the text like, reminder, your call is tomorrow at 5 p.m., you don't care, you don't give a fuck. But if you get a selfie video from the founder telling you that they're excited to speak to you and that they have looked through your numbers and your application, well, then you're actually going to be much more excited about the call, you're more likely to show up, and you actually trust them more because now you're building a real connection. Now the founder has actually put some effort for you specifically. This shows that they care about you. But the problem is that most businesses treat their leads just like some things in their CRM. They treat them just like numbers, just like a name in their CRM somewhere here, but they have no real connection. They have no real relationship with their leads. But the lead actually buys from someone that they have a connection with, that they have a relation with. And you need to always realize that the lead wins. They choose. You can't have things like you want. Obviously, it's easier for you if you can just like do fuck all and get people to come on your calls and to get like booked calls and like close people. But that's not how it works. The lead chooses. And if they want to buy for someone who they have a real connection and relationship with, well, that's what's going to happen. And the lead can feel when you put in effort for them, and they can feel when you just send them like a generic email and an automated like reminder or something like that. You know, you need to understand that personalization always increases your conversions in everything, in every aspect. So if you put in effort for people, if you have like, again, a personalized lead magnet, if you have a personalized email, if you send a personal selfie reminder, then people will trust you more and their conversion in each step is higher because they trust you. So what you want to do is when you get a new lead, you obviously want to contact them. You want to always contact all your leads that you get, but instead of sending like these generic text messages to them, go and have a real conversation with them. Go and literally chat with your leads. Go and build a relation with them, because then you build the real connection. Then they will trust you, because if they can talk to you, if they see that you are a real individual, if they realize that there's a real person behind the screen, then they will trust you so much more. And the same thing is in your pre-call like sequence, in your pre-call reminders. Again, you don't want to send these generic reminders. When you send them the first like text confirmation, you want to again hold a conversation with them. Like you can actually on your sales calls, you obviously ask them like some questions like to get an understanding about their situation, but instead you could ask those questions with like SMS. You can chat with them and build the real connection before a call. That way they will trust you much more before they ever join your sales call. But I think you get the point. You want to build a real connection with people, you want to chat with them, you want to build a relationship with them, because people buy from people. Obviously, they will trust someone that they have spoken to much more than some random guy that they saw on an ad. Like that's obvious. But the important thing here is that you need to be authentic. Don't try to be someone that you're not. Don't try to be like some high authority. Be yourself, be authentic, and chat to them like they are a real individual. So if you want more information on how to build trust like this systematically in your sales system, I have a lot of other videos on my channel where I break down exactly how to build this trust that I talked about in this video, but do it systematically, do it automatically. So I will leave those videos in the description below, so go watch them after this one. But if you have any more questions right now, I will put my Instagram in the description below, so feel free to shoot me a DM and I will be more than happy to help you out. See you in the next one.